for me, I could never sit and watch someone else live their life, bro. That's the craziest concept for me. Like, people hold back on posting what they would actually want to post because they don't want to be judged and ridiculed, and they're afraid what other people are gonna think. But it's like, the biggest risk in life is not taking the risk at all. It's like, you have to make that jump. Don't be afraid to reach out to people. There's no shame in reaching out and getting help. I know everyone wants to do it by themselves, but it's like, you're a product of your environment. Like, if the people around you are gonna uplift you, there's nothing more you could ask for than like a good support system.
Killian Turner,
what is going on, man?
welcome.
Thank you, bro.
Brother.
Thank you. This is my first podcast, man, and it's huge. This is a lot bigger than I expected, man. I was expecting a little table, some chairs. I know we spoke about it before, but if you guys don't see, I know you guys probably can't see mostly on the camera, but this guy's got his setup going, dude. This is crazy.
Yeah,
These
a
headphones
lot
too,
of
man.
work went into it.
Absolutely. I like this a lot, man. It's very clean. And I don't know if you guys know, but I think we're cousins. We're family, friends, or cousins. So I was here for like some Dominican barbecues when I was like 9 or 10 years old, and the basement was a spot for all the kids to come down and just chill. So I remember this basement being so much different than it is now. Dude.
Yeah.
Like I walked down here, I was just like, you could see a little bit of what it used to look like, but you transformed this into
we made it into its own
studio.
new world. Like,
this is sick.
yeah,
I love
thank
it,
you,
though.
man.
I love it.
I truly appreciate that. It's cool you got to see the evolution of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, he puts a lot of work into his craft, dude. I could tell you that. This is lovely. Very, very professional, very official, for sure.
Thank you. Means a lot coming from you, brother.
Absolutely, bro.
Yeah, I want to just jump straight into it. Dude, first of all, it is insane how we met again, because it was 8-9 years since the last time I seen you. We've just been in our own individual worlds, doing our own thing.
Absolutely.
And here I am, like, small chance I'm in the city, I run into you.
Yeah, so I was working as a handyman in Hell's Kitchen for a little bit. So I think you met me when I was about 8 months in. And I was like doing my rounds. Basically, this is like a 1,200 unit building.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of VIP members, and I'm running around trying to get these work orders in and getting these rooms ready for people to move in. And I go down to the front desk just to check in, see what my work orders are doing. And it's like, I see this face, and a very familiar face. It's kind of like when you've seen someone and you can't really put a name to a face, but you've seen them in the past. So I saw you, I kind of took note of it. And as you were walking, I was like, yo, Steve, like, is that you? And I was gonna feel super embarrassed if it wasn't you.
Yeah.
Because I was in my work uniform. I was looking dusty. I was looking crazy. But you turned and you were like, yeah, did you know it was me when I first said what's up?
No.
Yeah, because I don't look like I did 10
No,
years.
not at all. It's funny because the only reason I knew you knew me was because you mentioned my sister. You mentioned you mentioned the whole family, and I'm like, oh, this is one of Herbert's friends.
Yeah.
You look, bro, grown ass man. I'm like,
Yo, I mean, I don't know if I could say this now, but at my job, I was 35 years old, bro.
Yeah.
So I'm working with these 45-year-olds, and I'm 23 years old. So they're like, yo, you got kids at home? Like, how's the wife? I'm like, yo, I graduated 2020, bro. Like, the facial hair might fool you.
yeah.
But I shaved this. I had braces on 3 years ago with the clean shave. I was fresh out of high school, just getting into college. It's like the facial hair does so much. So I'm telling these people I'm 35 years old at work, and you almost start to believe it. You start walking around like you do got bills to pay and a wife and kids. So it's like, it's pretty funny. But yeah, I was the youngest at work. But yeah, I really don't look my age. And I feel like I get that a lot, which is weird because obviously like you see yourself as your age, So you hear that from different people. It's like super weird. But when I introduced myself, like, obviously I was like, yo, Steve, what's up? But I wanted to preface that, like, I knew your sister and your brother. I wasn't just some crazy person who just knew your name, bro. Some fanned out dude who was working at Sky. So I was like, yeah, what's up? I know, Helen and Herbert, it's been like 10 years, but I'm here, bro. What's up?
Yeah, that's why, since I didn't recognize you much, I just assumed you were Herbert's friend. I was like, oh, he's of that age. So, and then it wasn't until I followed you on Instagram after that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I scrolled down a bit. I was like, oh, these are my younger sister's age. I remember.
Yeah, dude. She graduated 2020?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're the same age, dude. It's crazy.
It's
crazy.
Stunned. I was stunned. I was like, holy smokes.
Bro,
it's been so long since we've seen each other.
Yeah,
and then to
dude.
see how successful you've been on Instagram, on social
that,
media,
bro.
grinding, dude. I was so proud to see it.
It's like a very different type of grind, because obviously when you associate like grind with work, it's obviously like going into the 9 to 5, putting in pain, working overtime, doing these like 70, 80 hour weeks. But it's like there's so much to content that a lot of people don't understand as far as like on the back end and understanding certain algorithms. And it's really like you're really studying the psychology of people and how certain people react to certain content. So it's really a lot of trial and error. Because dude, I had my Instagram since I was like 16 years old. Like I remember when I first started it, people were like, yo, like why are you posting shirtless selfies? Like you're mad weird. Bro, I remember posting my first transformation picture in high school and being so nervous to walk into first period because I know that like that picture was getting sent around because like me and my boy, shout out my boy Indy at a 24-hour fitness, we were really like the only young people with cameras like recording our workouts. Like it wasn't a very popular thing. Like you go into a gym now, there's tripods everywhere, everyone's recording. It's almost like it's taken the priority of working out and then you're just working out to get content. But like when it first started, recording workouts wasn't really a popular thing like it is now. Like I'd say COVID really made fitness mainstream. Like you'd have your niche of people working out. It's like, oh, that guy's like super into nutrition, super into training. But now it's like a lot of people have kind of infiltrated and saturated that field where it's like you see more fitness influencers than any other type of influencer, you know? And I think COVID had like a big effect on that. But yeah, when I first started out, bro, it's like, it's a super weird concept of like posting these shirtless selfies and trying to build a community because it's like it comes off as very narcissistic because the whole point of like being a trainer is you're selling yourself. So it's like you kind of have to put yourself out there in a sense because you're a product of what you're selling. You know, just like with anything, but you're selling yourself in a sense. But yeah, it's super interesting to see how it's evolved because obviously when I started, it's been almost like 8 years since I've been like trying to push social media. So seeing like the fruits of my labor kind of pay off now is so rewarding, you know? I'm still really trying to grow that and you know, my foot is still on the gas, but it's like I could kind of look back a little bit and appreciate all the work that I've put in over time. And I'm super grateful for it and the community that Instagram brings. Bro, so many of my friends I've met through Instagram and I know it's like it gets its flack for like, oh, like, you know, social media has changed the way people socialize and how people communicate, but if you look at the pros, like look at the bigger picture, there's probably so many people and so many communities, so many opportunities, so many doors that wouldn't have been opened if you didn't have social media. At least for me, that's the way I see it, you know? So it's like, I try to utilize that to the best of my ability. Like, obviously I try to, you know, not be on my phone as much, but it's kind of hard when your job revolves around that. Yeah. So it's a little difficult. Like my screen time's like a smooth, like 6-7 hours, but I'm trying to get that down a little bit, but it's like also trying to grow content. You're going to see, you know, what's trending. You're going to see the algorithm. So it's kind of like you have to study it a little bit. Yeah. It's weird. It's a weird concept.
Yeah, I could completely agree because prior to starting my podcast, I wanted to take my screen time to 0 hours. You know what I mean?
Like everyone goes through that phase, like the Goggins method, you know, like
exactly. But now when you're in the phase of you have to grind and your business is social media, your business is online, you're forced to be on your phone. So
I know, bro.
It's about a balance and making sure you're keeping healthy habits, which you clearly are.
I'm trying.
Yeah. One thing I loved that you said was when you started, it wasn't popular, you know, and that's a significant difference in the people that make it in the social media game compared to the ones that don't. Because it's easy to see the people that don't really have this as a passion don't do it because they love it. You know, they're doing it for the money, like you said earlier.
Of course.
And one thing I've also learned is that there's not much money to be made in the fitness influencer space.
There's not. Like you see a lot of people. First of all, what you see on social media is not real life. I know you hear it you hear it from so many different people, but it really is just the highlights of someone's life. So if you're taking that and you're constantly comparing, even if you're doing it subconsciously, like even I'm victim of it sometimes when I'll be scrolling, I'll be in the gym, I just hit a nice little PR, then I see like a little girl in China just squatted it for reps. It's like, obviously subconsciously, you're going to be feeling a little bit down on yourself. And it goes like with any type of niche, people are going to be flexing their highlights. So it's like Instagram is simply just a highlight reel. So it's like, you can't use that as a gauge for your success because you're just taking the best of everyone's life. No one's going to, like me and you were talking about this before we hopped on here, but like no one's going to show their lows on social media.
Never.
Because no one wants to be vulnerable and people are afraid that they're going to lose their following, lose their sponsorships. It's not going to, you know, hit the algorithm the way it would. Because sometimes the algorithm only supports like these super flashy things that are going to get your attention. That's kind of the rabbit hole a lot of people fall into, I feel like.
Definitely.
Yeah, bro.
And that's why my previous guest I had on, we were talking about the Miami influencers, the fake ones
It's a
selling
whole different
courses.
world. Miami's its own country, dude. It's crazy. It's crazy.
You know, I told you I'm loyal to my country, New Jersey. Shout out New Jersey.
Shout out New Jersey, man.
Yeah, I mean, New Jersey is its own different country as
Absolutely.
well. I love the culture here, the people here. We're proud to be New Jerseyans.
Absolutely, man. The food here is bomb. Like I've never been to Miami, so I'm not gonna speak too heavy on that. But from what I can see, it's very superficial, and it's simply based on your status. So if you're not renting these Lambos and these Bugattis and all these nice cars, it's like you're not gonna, I guess, for lack of a better term, get anywhere in that life. And I don't get how people like simply just live like that, because I feel like you don't have any true connection. You don't really have any true friends, at least from what I see. It just looks very empty. And I don't know, I would never want to get into that space. And I feel like a lot of people, once they start to see that money, they kind of just keep wanting more and more. And as you get it, you're not really striving for a goal. You're just wanting more. So sometimes I feel like living in a place like Miami, you're in your own little bubble, and you can't really take a step back to kind of see how far you've come. But it's like so dystopian, man. It's like the whole culture. No one owns anything, Like everything you're seeing is rented. Someone's waiting in line to get that Urus an hour from now. All these clothes, all these mansions, it's like they're rented. They're not bought with cash, like they say.
Never.
No one's buying a $10 million mansion in cash from selling fitness courses.
No.
That's just not how it works.
Yeah, and that's what I spoke about on the last episode is they're selling you a lifestyle that they don't even live.
Yeah, it's like you have to stay true. Like, at least for me, I always try to stay genuine as far as the content that I post, because obviously, I want to get more followers and a bigger audience and really build like a nice community. But I'd rather have a tight-knit niche community of 50 loyal people than thousands of people who really just see me for the highlights. They don't really know who I am, So it's like I would never want to give off that facade of like, look what you can do if you buy this, and that's what a lot of people are doing. They're like, buy this. Instead of fitness courses, they're lifestyle courses. Look at how I eat, how I train. Look at how I could, bag this girl. It's like they're showing you how to live a life where really they didn't do any of these steps to get to where they are.
No,
they're just trying to convince you to, get there by skipping all the steps.
Exactly.
So you can't skip those steps, bro. Like he probably put in 10 years of work, and then he started seeing the fruits of his labor the last year. And then that last year, he's trying to sell you, what he's seen in that last year. But the 9 years leading up to it, it's nothing included in the course. It's not, working overtime. It's not all the hard hours. It's not all the hard decisions you had to make with relationships and different friendships. It's like that comes with, being successful. And some people aren't willing to take that risk. But it's like, that's kind of where I see a lot of people, I guess, like flocking to now.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird shift in Instagram now. It's not so much social media, but it's like a big ad. I feel like everyone's just selling something,
Yeah. And I had this conversation with one of my friends recently, and it's that CTA. Everybody has that call to action after every video now. They're selling you something, which is an absolute joke. And if you look at my social medias, I have yet to sell anybody anything because I feel like, one, I haven't earned it yet. Like I need to build trust and I need to build loyalty through hard work. And like you said earlier, you want that tight niche and you rather have 50 loyal followers. And I believe that goes a way longer down the road than having pretty much 50,000 soulless followers that they're just following you for the one hype video or to see what you're selling. It just doesn't make sense to me. And it's insane that everybody's looking for that quick fix, whether it's dopamine, whether it's quick cash. They're just trying to skip the journey.
That instant gratification, dude.
It's killing people.
It is, bro. And it's like you're seeing it with the way people are moving now. It's like no one really has those couple of friends that they could really rely on. So it's like when you have that tight-knit community, and let's say you're like, life is an ebb and flow. You're going to have highs, you're going to have lows. When you're in your low, you could count on those loyal people to really still support you. But if you're in that low with these, 10, 20, 50,000 followers, and it's like half of them are there for the courses, 20 of them are there for the Urus, like 5,000 of them are there for your physique. They're not going to support you when you're at your lowest, because they just want to see the fruits of your labor. They want to see, oh, I could get the 6-pack with the Urus and this and that. But it's like, as soon as all that goes away, they're going to, it's like
disappear.
lights on a cockroach, bro. They're going to disappear. They're not going to stay with you through the hard times. And that can be applied like with anything throughout life. But I've certainly noticed on Instagram, people are extremely quick to change. So as quick as that fame comes, it could go just as quick. So I think that's why there's beauty in the grind and building something that you're truly proud of, because you put in all that work and you amass a certain following. So once you get there, they were kind of with you through the grind, It's like we were talking about pledging before. It's like you go through the grind with all your brothers after the 10, 16 weeks. And then when it's finally over, you guys almost like trauma bonded in a sense. And you guys have that bond that's unbreakable. It's like you could almost build that with your audience. You kind of take them through your life and show them the lows as much as the highs. Like don't just show the highs. And I promise you might lose some people, but those are people that weren't going to stick around regardless. You're going to keep the foundation of your audience and your followers. And the engagement is eventually, it's going to show itself. The hard work is going to show itself. And it's like, I think that's super, super important, but it's also like almost a lost art now, because everyone's just, trying to get as many followers, as much as money and sponsorships as possible. And it's like, it's hard. I'm not saying it like it should be 100% frowned upon. Like it is extremely hard, because it's right in front of your face. It's like, if you could just do this from your phone, who wouldn't want to take that opportunity? Yeah. So it's almost like a test,
And like you said, it is hard. And I think what's specifically hard is trying to stay true to yourself and
100%.
Trying to stay down the right path. Because like you said, you can just go for the quick fix, quick dopamine rush where you kind of skip those steps and you make those viral videos. I've said this to so many people. I mean, you see how many seats are around us, right?
Yeah.
How easy would it be for me to get a bunch of beautiful girls and a bunch of men just exactly, it would be a terrible message and something I wouldn't want to push, but it would get views and it would get me paid. So if I was looking to get paid, why not do that? And there's people that have come to me with a business proposition like, let me do it, you be the face of it. I'm like, that's just not what I stand for as a person. It's not my brand. It's not what I want to represent. And hopefully I've been representing something way better than that,
Absolutely.
Because I tell all my friends and I tell everybody in my personal life, I don't care to be viral. I'd rather grow something, like we said earlier, small, tight community.
Watch it flourish,
Exactly. Enjoy my community and watch me improve, because when I started this podcast, I started it probably at the worst point in my life, mentally, physically, and even as a podcaster, terrible. And I've gotten the opportunity to grow with everybody following me, and it's been a beautiful journey, because if you watch my first episode, absolutely horrendous. I never watched it because I didn't have to edit it. There was just one camera, so there was no edits that needed to be made.
Straight raw, just raw, yapping, bro.
And I try to not cut a bunch of things out of my podcast because I want it to be raw. I want my mistakes, my my likes to be there. So when people are able to look back in 5-10 years, if I am where I think I'm going to be and where I dream of being, people could look back and be like, he wasn't perfect and he started. So I could do it too, Of
course.
That's where my motivation strives from.
I feel like so many people are afraid to show that vulnerable side, but it's like, that's that's such a beautiful part of getting to where you want to go. Like, I feel like you should embrace that, if anything. It's like, dude, looking back at my old fitness, like it's hard for me to look back at these posts because they're so uncomfortable to look at. Like, I cringe, and to think I put this out on public for, possibly millions of people to see. But it's like, I had a passion for it and I was doing what I thought was right. And maybe it wasn't right in the moment, but I was still working towards my end goal. And now that I'm slowly seeing the result of that, it's like, bro, I love that I did that. I love that I took that risk, and I love how I walked into first period and I was, skeptical of what people were going to say, and I was like super subconscious, and people were asking like, how did you do this and that, and why did you do that? It's because you had a passion for it and you saw the vision, It's not just because, other people didn't believe it. As long as you saw, your dream maybe 5, 10, even 15 years from now, and you started that and you took that risk, like that's the first step that a lot of people are not willing to take. Then once you take that, I think it's huge to look back on that and see how far you've come, because it just shows the growth, and I feel like that passion and that aspect is kind of lacking on at least social media from what I'm seeing. People are kind of just showing the end result and, you know, what you could be if you put in that work. But a lot of people don't realize, like, a lot of people think that social media is like a lot easier than it is, myself included, you know, but after being in it for close to 10 years, you realize like it's like a job. It's like any other job.
Yeah.
It's like with anything, if you want to see results, you have to put the work in. You know, just because it's social media and you're not clocking into a 9 to 5, it's like there's so much on the back end. I promise that even some of these sketchy, scummy Instagrammers and anyone on TikTok, their morals and they might not stand for the right thing. And I understand that, but you can't knock that they're not putting the work in. You know, regardless of what their end goal is, there still is work being put in, whether they did it morally or immorally. It's still a lot of time and effort being put in. So it's like there's a lot on the back end that even with this podcast, bro, it's like you just see me and you sitting in a chair talking into a microphone. You had to set up for like 15, 20 minutes just to make sure the camera was right and the microphone was good. It's like there's a lot that goes in. So it's very easy to be fooled by just what you see on the social media, but there is a lot on the back end. And it took a long time for me to realize that, you know?
Yeah.
Because obviously making the switch from being, you know, working 60 hours a week, doing plumbing. I was a plumbing apprentice for like 5 to 6 months, and it's a total 180. Like I'm going in, I'm working with all these dudes and I'm working 80 hours a week. You know, doing all this hard work, and it's like you're going home, you know, you're relaxing, you're chilling, but you're seeing, you know, you're physically seeing the hard work. But I feel like with social media, it's you don't get that rewarding feeling sometimes, as far as like, oh, I just worked a hard week, I'm gonna go out to the bar, I'm gonna just chill and watch my Netflix show. It's kind of a different type of work. And some people need that physical exertion. And for a while, when I switched over from, you know, working as a handyman, working super long hours to content, it was almost like unfulfilling in a sense, because I'm not exerting that energy. I'm not feeling super tired after a long week, but mentally I'm fried. Like the brain fog that I've accumulated from when I really started pushing this Instagram is crazy. And I try to be more present and I try to get better at it, but it really is just like gears in your head constantly spinning 24/7. Whereas plumbing, you're there for plumbing, you could do what you need, you're in and out, and then once you're home, you could turn your brain off. But I feel like with social media, your brain is constantly on 24/7 because you're just thinking, oh, can I make content out of this? Or, oh, I need to be editing this. How could I scale this? Yeah. So it's a totally different way to be looking at work. And I feel like I'm like honestly still adjusting to that because it's been about 2 months since I left my full-time job for something like this. So I'm still kind of getting in that routine because when you're used to clocking into a 9 to 5, you know, you have your little time cards. It's like, okay, this is when I start work. This is when I end work. But with this, it's all on you. And some people do need those bumpers to kind of guide them. They need these times to clock in and out. So, you know, once they leave something like a stable job, they're kind of like in this low period of what do I do? I have all this free time. Because you think when you're at this job, it's like, oh, I'm going to, you know, once I leave this job, I'm going to be working 70 hours a week. I'm going to be locked in, you know, I'm going to be doing this and that. And then you get that free time. It's like, dude, what do I do now? You know, so I think a super important part of that is don't be afraid to reach out to people who are like, there's no shame in reaching out and getting help. I know everyone wants to do it by themselves, but there's no shame in having a good support group and good friend group. And I know we were talking about that before, but it's like you're a product of your environment. Like if the people around you are going to uplift you, there's nothing more you could ask for than like a good support system, whether that be friends, family, significant other. It helps so much because I'm sure you know what it's like to be, you know, head down focused and you're kind of in your own lane. You know, it's like you don't want any distractions. But sometimes if you reach out, you're like, oh, I should have reached out a lot sooner. This is good insight that I could have used and, you know, put towards my own business. I feel like a lot of people are kind of afraid to extend that hand because it shows like some type of weakness. But it's almost like it shows more of a weakness to think, or almost some type of like selfishness to think that like you can do it by yourself, which you can. But it's like there's no shame in asking for help here and there, bro. It's, you know,
not
it's
at
like
all.
The help's always there, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree because it could almost be a shortcut sometimes. 100%. You don't know. Something you've experienced can help somebody else and vice versa. Something they've experienced could help you. Hey, don't make this mistake on these videos. Hey, I've already made this mistake 1,000 times. Make sure you don't do it. You know? So that's why I love that you talk about having a support system that truly just pushes you to be better and truly wants to see the best out of you at all times, because not having that could be detrimental, like you said.
Absolutely. It's like, especially when you're at like your darkest, your deepest moments, it's like having that support system, even going out to get a drink with friends. Like I make it a necessity at least once a week. Me and my boys, we always meet, Saddlebrook Diner. Yeah, we always meet up at least once a week at Saddlebrook Diner. And it's not even to talk about anything specific, but it's just to talk to my boys, catch up on life, see where they're at in life, see if they need help with anything. And I feel like that's so crucial. And when people get in that grind mode, they're like, oh, I'm not going to go out, I'm not going to do this. It's like, okay, not going out to the bar, not getting wasted, not spending money on bottles, like doing all these things. Okay, that's good. But it's like, you don't want to miss out on that social aspect either.
Yeah.
Because that's when people really start to go crazy. And you're going to shut off certain people you really didn't want to shut out. It's like all they're trying to do is help you,
Yeah.
And I feel like a big part of seeing success is being vulnerable in that sense. It's like when you need help, accept it. There's no shame in that. And it took a while for me to understand that, because it's like when you're building something from your own brand, it's kind of like you don't want any help. You don't want anyone to touch this. It's like your little baby. You're watching it flourish from like a little seed in some dirt to a beautiful plant. It's like, I don't want anyone else to water it. I want to put it in the sunlight, this and that. But it's like, bro, sometimes it helps just to get like someone else's 2 cents, But yeah, those SBD runs at least once a week, bro. Sometimes they keep me from going over the edge. Sometimes all you need is a good conversation with your boy to realize that any problem that you have right now is honestly minuscule. Like if you look at the biggest problem that you had 2-3 years ago, it's not even something that you're thinking about now. Even 6 months ago, like the biggest problem, if you think back, what was the biggest stressor in your life? It's probably not affecting you right now, and you got over it and you got through it. So it's kind of like you learn that as you go. And I feel like having a good support system just makes getting over those humps so much easier,
That's the key. I love that you said you guys meet up once a week, because that's something I had to learn this previous year. Like you said, I just put my head down, work, and then you lift your head up and you're like, where's the time gone?
Exactly.
Where have my friends gone? You start to not lose those relationships, because I feel like men do a really good job of, if we don't talk for months, next time we talk, we're exactly where we
nothing's
were.
Changed.
Nothing's changed. But that's also, I think, where we fault at, where we need to be more on top of our relationships. And that's something I had to learn the hard way, where I need to be the one reaching out sometimes, checking up, making sure everybody's good.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not good, talking to my boys about it, because you know how guys are. We meet up and we just BS, and then like the real life macho problems, super macho. So like, I'm not saying you need to go to therapy, but maybe use your boys as therapy, chat about it. And then when you guys all start talking about it, you realize, oh, he's going through the same thing. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Your problems seem a lot smaller than they were before you started talking with, with your boys, especially if someone's going through a similar problem that you are, which someone is. Like, you're not the only one in your situation, unless you live in some crazy 007, double life that no one knows about. It's like there is someone out there, and they're most likely like in your friend group, going through some type of situation where they're thinking the same thing, where they don't want to reach out because they don't want to seem like they're too much or too vulnerable. Like if you talk to someone and they're going through something similar, it'll give you a lot more closure on the situation as well, and maybe even provide some insight on how to overcome that obstacle, which I think is huge,
Yeah, that's been a game changer for me. And one thing you said early on that was important was you could meet those people online.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, 100%. I'd say, like, obviously you have your friend group of people who you grow up with, and those are always going to be your boys. But like some of my really close friends, I wouldn't say like my brothers, but like some of my really close friends that I can rely on if I need something, I've met like through Instagram for the most part, like just because the friendship started through Instagram doesn't mean you always have to treat it like a DM or some type of superficial friendship. Like, it's up to you if you guys, could really be of benefit to each other and really have good chemistry. There's so much opportunity and so many people for you to, like, that was the point of social media. You go back to MySpace, you go back to Facebook, it was to connect and build these communities and build this friendship. And that's like, you look at Instagram now, I really think of connection as like one of the last priorities on social media. It's really about selling and building yourself, which it has its pros and cons, but I feel like it's definitely something lacking with social media. But people forget that was a main reason why social media was created, to build those connections. So there's a lot of people that I can rely on and count on and call really good friends that I've met through, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it be, and I still talk to them to this day, you know?
Yeah. 90% of my guests were online.
Yeah.
I had to email them. I met them, DMing them on Instagram, whatever it was. But 90% of my guests were found online. And that's why I say those online connections are the important ones, because without the social media, I probably would have never got the chance,
Exactly. Like my business has revolved around social media now. Like that's how I support myself. So it's like, I wouldn't nag on social media as being a place only for, selling things and promoting things, because that's part of what I do. But also I think the aspect of still building those communities and having those friends on social media still should be like a good focus, because obviously social media now is a place for, instant dopamine to kind of relax, and it kind of takes you away from like the present world, which is why a lot of people gravitate towards it. But it should also be a place to, build connections. Like you want to benefit from it. If you're on your phone 6 hours, at least use half of that to, put it towards whatever you're trying to grow. Like for my business, when I'm on social media, like, yeah, I'll doom scroll for a little bit, but it's like, I'm also trying to reach out to different people. I'm trying to make posts that are informative. Like as long as I'm on the social media, I'm trying to get the most out of it that I can. And I think that I've been, doing a good job with that, because I'm finally seeing, all the work I put in finally pay off, and it's super nice to see. But then being able to build a business from that is like something I never thought would be possible, because the way social media has evolved over the last couple of years is crazy. And now with the integration of AI, which I think is personally, pretty scary, because it's come to the point where I can't even recognize, an AI picture from a real picture. So things like that, like we would make fun of the older generation not being able to tell the difference, but now I'm the older generation that can't tell the difference between, certain bots and whatnot. So it is a little weird to see where it's evolving, but at least from where I started to where I am now, I think social media has definitely been a benefit, like more pro than a con, for sure.
I always tell everybody it's so important to build a personal brand, because no matter what, as long as you're building a personal brand based off value you're giving to your audience and actually trying to help, it's only going to help you in the long run. If you want to build a real estate company, if you want to be an entrepreneur in any form, it's a benefit for you to have like-minded people following you that want to see you grow. Yeah. Because they're able to purchase a product because you've built a trust with them, and they trust that this product is going to help their life. You know what I mean? So I just don't understand why people are so scared to build a personal brand.
It's the fear of being judged, I think it is. I think a lot of people hold back on posting what they would actually want to post. Yeah. Because they don't want to be judged and ridiculed, and they're afraid what other people are going to think. But it's like, you sitting back and not taking that risk. Like, one of my favorite quotes is, the biggest risk in life is not taking the risk at all. It's like, you have to make that jump. And if it doesn't work, at least you can look back and say, okay, at least I tried. Because the whole reason why I left my job, because I was doing coaching on the side till I left my job in September. I was doing coaching starting June is when I launched my company. And I was doing that on the side while I'm doing this handyman work. Like, I'm under a sink trying to fix a faucet, and I'm, replying to clients while I'm under the sink. And then I'm thinking to myself, it's like, this is my passion. This is really what I want to do. And I'm going to be in some hot water for a little bit, but I don't want to look back in 10 years and say, I really wish I took that risk. I really wish I took that jump and kind of at least tried and saw what I could try to build from my own brand. It's something too where no one really owns anything anymore. No one, like, creating your own thing has gotten more and more scarce. So if I could look back and say, okay, I built something from scratch, I try to create something that I was passionate about. And even if it doesn't work out, I could at least have that weight off my shoulders of not trying, because that's like the biggest thing. You're never going to know unless you don't try. And it's like, you got to stop thinking about what others are going to think. And I know it's super cliche and super played out, but it really is. Like, if you think about the one thing that's holding most people back, it is like that fear of being judged. Yeah. And social media has created such a toxic community for that, like, at least for what I see, I'll post something like, I try to post valuable information, because you could only post a picture of yourself for so long. Like, it's great to show, what's possible with hard work, but you're really not touching anyone just by posting a shirtless selfie in the mirror. Like, for my people who are trying to kind of break into the fitness industry, yes, it's saturated, but you want to make sure you're providing value. Because if you're not providing any type of value, no one's really going to stick around. And it's almost like selfish in a sense to kind of hide all this information. You know, it's like, my goal has always been to build a community of like-minded individuals who want to get better through nutrition and training, you know, and I think that benefits every other aspect in life. So it's like, who am I to get to where I'm at? And, you know, people respect that, to hold all that knowledge. It's like, I want to, you know, show everything that I've learned along the way, you know, through trial and error. And I want to show, you know, what I learned from doing this, eating this way, training this way. It's like, social media, you have to kind of share your knowledge a little bit. So like, if you're just posting shirtless selfies and things that you know are going to get a lot of clicks, those are great, but you also have to provide the value with that. People want to see how you got there. It's nice for the algorithm, and it's nice for people to see, and it's a nice quick hit of dopamine for seeing a nice physique, but people want to know how you got the physique. And if you could provide that knowledge, like, I think that should be a big driver for you wanting to grow, you know, because you're not going to get anywhere just by posting the final result. People want to know the back end. People want to know, like, who you really are and how you got to where you are, because there's always a market, and there's always someone learning or willing to learn. And that could be, you know, from you, even though you don't think that you could be, you know, a good coach or someone who could be idolized. It's like, you'd be surprised, bro. You'd really be surprised, you know? Yeah,
leading with value is so important, because if you're trying to sell something to somebody and you're not leading with value, why would I purchase it from you?
Exactly.
And I think another thing is that's really important that you said it. Show people the journey.
Yeah.
Because what videos in fitness go the most viral? The ones where you got this fat little kid, you got the skinny little kid who never had any muscles, who people could relate to. Oh, I was that kid getting bullied because I was too big, or I was that kid getting bullied because I was tall and lengthy and could never build a muscle. But boom, switch over to the transformation. Oh my God, he did it. Why can't I, you know? And then show them that journey. Those are the ones that go most viral, when people could relate to you.
Of course.
I think that's also changed in social media as a whole, is that people are done with these celebrities they can't relate to anymore. You know, the ones that just are not able to connect with you because one, they've made too much money. They're disconnected from reality because of the life they're living. People are so over that. And now you see these celebrities trying to be more vulnerable online, trying to sell that soft side. And people are just so over the fake lies. That's why it's like, be relatable, be a human being. Don't put up this facade of somebody you're not, you know?
Yeah. And I think the counter of that, like the inverse, would be a lot of these Instagram celebrities kind of letting it get to their head where they lose that vulnerable side. And once they touch that money, or once they get to that goal where they've been working so hard to, they forget the foundation that they built. So they kind of turn into this celebrity who really people value them for not being. And then once they kind of turn into that person, it's like you kind of see it a little bit, you know? It's like maybe they might move to Miami, and maybe they might start renting the mansions and the cars. And it's like, it's really crazy to see the popularity of social media, and people kind of put these streamers. Like, I feel like a lot of these streamers are a lot more popular than most celebrities now.
Definitely.
And it's just because a lot of these people can relate to. It's just a kid behind the camera. And the thing with streamers is the most popular ones, they're bringing them into everything they do. Yeah. Which, you know, for me, I could never sit and watch someone else live their life, bro. That's the craziest concept for me. Like, you're literally watching like a My Sims game. You're just watching someone else live their life, you know? But I think a lot of people gravitate towards that as opposed to a normal celebrity, just because it's like, oh, if this kid can do it, then so can I.
Exactly.
You know, and people have built that, you know? It's like,
it's that relatability, like we talked about.
It's crazy. The building I was working at Sky, like, I show speed. He pulled up there, and it's, dude, you would think like the president of America pulled up, because the entourage and the camera crew and the people outside, it's like, this was supposed to be a secret thing that no one really knew about. He was just filming a video. And it's like, the popularity that these streamers have gotten over the past couple of years is insane. It's crazy to watch. And now you see a lot of people trying to kind of delve into that a little bit. But then it's also, you got to think about, if these people are growing, that means the audience is growing too. So you got to think of the amount of like little kids, little impressionable kids that are sitting behind their computer and just watching someone else live their life. And they're watching all this money come into these people's lives. And the thing is, like, as a little kid, it's like, you're going to feel like, oh man, why can't I do that? Or how is he getting all this money? And I feel like this new generation is just gluing their eyes to all these people who are their age or slightly older doing so much better than them.
Yeah.
This is the 1% of the 1% you're watching. Like, people don't realize, like, these popular, there's millions of people trying to do it. You're only seeing the top performers.
Yeah.
So it's a constant, like, comparison game. And I feel like that definitely has a huge part on people's mental. And it's like, it's causing, you know, the rates of anxiety and depression, it's like skyrocketing. Because I think what, you know, social media has done, it's realized that a big audience has gone to, you know, little impressionable kids. So it's like a lot of these streamers, like me and you will watch them, and you're like, yo, why do people watch them? But it's not even for people, like, it's for people in like middle school and high school who are still trying to figure their lives out. So they're watching these kids, and then their whole attitude of life kind of shifts a little bit, and they want that instant gratification, and they want to move fairly quick. And then they hit 21 and they're like, yo, why am I not where I want it to be at?
Yeah.
It's like, bro, you're relating yourself to the 0.001% of people who put in that work, you know, but they don't show the work. They just show, you know, the million view streams and this and that. And it's like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely absurd. And I agree with you on that, because even I had a struggle when I turned 23. I believe that, wow, I'm not where I wanted to be. And then I'm comparing myself, because at that point I was scrolling on TikTok a ton, you know what I mean, coming out of COVID. Like, I'm looking at these people that have so much more than me, and I'm like, why don't I have that? I feel like I've worked hard enough and I deserve that. I felt like so entitled, like, honestly, and it was BS. I really haven't put the work in that certain lane where I've even should have felt like I deserved that, you know?
Yeah.
But I gotta tip my hat off almost to those streamers, because like you said, I don't know how they do it. I always wanted to stream, but I would be way more relaxed, way more nonchalant. I can't do that IRL thing. I gotta give it to them, because I genuinely feel like streamers are selling their soul in a sense, not in a bad way. Yeah, it's just, you're selling your time to people. You know, to always be on camera, it's reality TV to an extent, and it's just it's absurd. And
I can't
like
imagine
I said,
that.
I give them props for doing it, because I could never.
It's crazy to have to put on that. And obviously, some streamers are a little bit true to themselves than others. But like, for example, I show Speed, when he came to the building, I could say, like, he's exactly how he is off camera than he is on camera. Like, he always has that energy. Yeah. So it's crazy to think, because you're always in that mindset. So like, for me at least, when I'm posting on social media, it's like, yeah, I'll be a little more upbeat, this and that, but it's not, you know, I'm not always in content mode. Yeah. So to even imagine to be in content mode 24/7, like, we were talking about mental fog and brain fog. It's like, I can't even imagine the amount of brain fog some of these people have. But they're used to it, and they've been doing it for so long. It's almost like I'm curious to see where the streaming game is going to be in like 5 years. Excuse me. I feel like everyone's going to be kind of walking around with the camera and showing everyone else like an inside look on people's lives.
It's already happening.
It's crazy, and it's almost like this is such a new concept. Like, celebrities weren't these people who had social media, and even when social media was still growing, like, a lot of celebrities weren't really on it. Yeah. But now we're kind of getting that inside look of how these millionaires and these celebrities really live, and you realize they're really not that different than what you would expect.
Especially when you could see them from the beginning, because some of these streamers, they're able to blow up in the span of 2-3 years, you know? So you could see them when they're still in their parents' basement, not making any money, compared to in the Hollywood Hills, all these collabs that you're like dreaming about. But the streamers are absurd, because you actually saw me in the same building with a celebrity, and you see the difference. You get to, like, physically, because that's where I think, as a viewer versus a creator, people are detached when they're not in the actual life and able to connect with people that they might look up to. But you've been in a position where people you look up to are now coworkers in a sense. You guys are on the same playing field. Even if this guy has millions and millions, you know what it takes to get there to an extent, you know? So it's absolutely absurd to see there's levels to this, you know? because I was with a celebrity, but it was nothing like I Show Speed, and he has a huge following. He's done a ton in his own lane, but there isn't camera crews following him around 24/7. There isn't a crowd of 1,000 people forming around him. He's not going to start a mosh pit, but these streamers will.
Dude, the thing is, it's like, we've already seen like the 24-hour streams. We've seen, week streams. We've seen Kai Cenat literally had that stream, because I've seen so many clips of it where he sets up a camera and he goes to sleep, and then you wake up with the stream, and it's like, people are only going to be satisfied with certain content for so long until they're wanting more. That's the thing with social media. It's like you're constantly pushing the line and you're constantly trying to provide more. So I'm always thinking, like, where is the next step for streaming? Yeah. Like, it could only go so far until people are like, oh, I want to see more. Well, you can't really see more because they're showing everything, So I'm curious to see where that line's going to be pushed, and if social media is going to kind of take that shift into streaming, or want to see more behind the scenes, because the way it's been going so far, it's like people just keep wanting more,
That's why I think it's a fine line, one, and two, it gets very dangerous. I don't know if you've seen recently, Kai Cenat came out about mental health struggles he's had, and in the comments it's split between two, like, oh, one, I hope you're doing better, and then the other side where it's like, you're a multimillionaire who's living out your dreams and other people's dreams, why aren't you happy? But it's like, how can he be to an extent? He doesn't, people, if you're not in his shoes, you don't understand what he's going through, in the sense of he's putting his whole life out there and he's being judged for everything he does every second of the day. And as a creator, and at least from a viewer standpoint, like, he's put out such great content, and he's, like you said, always wanting to top the next big thing he's done, and it's like, how do you continue to do that, and then receiving all that hate from millions and millions of people? Like, at the end of the day, he's a human being, regardless if he has all the money, regardless if he has all the success, it still gets to people. And that's what I think, as viewers, people take advantage of. Like, they crash and like throw dirt on people, but it's like, he's a human being at the end of the day. If he's going through mental health issues, I completely understand. Like, he's putting his life on the line to an extent every time he gets on that camera.
Dude, I'd be surprised if he wasn't going through mental health issues. And the thing is, like, it's almost like the class clown situation where it's like always being the funny guy in the center of attention. It's almost like The Boy Who Cried Wolf, where it's like, no one's going to take you seriously once you actually do come out and be your vulnerable self, because you're always that funny guy. You're always so upbeat. You're always the guy people tune into to watch, to make them feel better. But it's like, oh, if this guy's not feeling better, then, what do I do? Yeah. And you see that in the comments, like you mentioned, half were supporting it, half were like, bro, you're making millions of dollars. What are you complaining about? But it's like, that just goes to show like how toxic social media can be. You have this grown man coming out and really expressing himself to his viewers, his community, and then half of his community turns on him like that. Like, people are extremely quick to change. Yeah. Their view and their opinion. And especially someone on such a high pedestal, they kind of, as they get more popular, they become less human. Yeah. So people don't think that they're going to have the same reactions as a normal human does. But it's like, if, someone's coming out to you with like mental health issues, it's like, obviously he's going through it and he's feeling these emotions and things like that. So you just see how quick people are, to support someone and then do the inverse as soon as they don't like what they see, and that's a big part of, having a brand. It's like, you can't cater to everyone, and that's the thing with being put on such a pedestal. It's like, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to amass the most amount of people that you can. Yeah. So obviously with the popularity comes hate and comes different things. So it's really crazy to see like so many people shift their opinion and kind of go with the tide. It's almost like, the cattle of sheep, in a sense, where someone will have an opinion and then someone will kind of, second that opinion, and you'll just see the mass viewing of, certain people just put themselves on one side of things just because everyone else is doing it, Yeah. And that's just, I didn't even know about that, honestly. And it's like, I'm not getting those clips of him being vulnerable like that. I'm just getting the clips of him being funny and certain things like that, because the algorithm isn't going to push that. Yeah, never. No one wants to hear your struggles, bro. Yeah. No one wants to hear, oh, he's not doing too good. Oh, he's a millionaire. He'll be all right. Exactly. No one wants to hear that side, bro. And that's like, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because when you're put in such a pedestal, you kind of rely on your audience to be that crutch, and that's why, coming back to having a tight-knit niche community is so important, because I don't think you should use them as some type of therapy or something like that. I think you should deal with that on your own, but at least having a good support system to fall back on and knowing that even in your lows, they'll support you, I think is huge. So I could only imagine him posting that and then seeing half the comments, he's definitely dealt with a bunch of hate being at the level that he is, but still, like, it's not really something to, joke about too much,
Yeah, I just think some people don't really understand that money only solves money problems. And life isn't all about money, but the issue is when you're not financially stable or you're in a rough place and have been in a rough place maybe your entire life with money, you think it's going to solve everything.
Yeah.
But if you ever had a little bit of money or you've had stable income where you don't have to stress as much about it, you're able to understand that's not what life is all about,
Course,
and even I was in those positions when I was younger, always striving to have money because I want my family to be good, all these different things. And all my problems always strive from not having money. And it wasn't until I was able to make that change where money wasn't the root of everything for me,
Dude,
I was able to truly be happy. Like right now where I am in life, me personally, I'm not making that much money at all. Like I made my first $100 on my YouTube channel last month, and I've been doing it for a year. But this is the happiest I've ever been in my life this last year. And going back to what we were talking about earlier, people aren't there for the days I stayed up 12, 16 hours to get the episode out, I stayed up emailing 700 people to get one person to respond. But they're only going to see when I hit the 1,000 followers on YouTube. I hit the, so.
That $100 is probably going to feel better than any amount of money that you're probably going to get in the next couple of years, just because the amount of work that you put into that.
Heck yeah.
It's like even me leaving that stable job at, the handyman position, like I was getting good money, I was stable, but didn't really change much. Like, I was able to, pay certain things a little quicker and have a little bit more breathing room. But taking that risk and kind of putting myself in hot water, it's like, I'm not making as much and I'm still, I'm grinding and I still really want to get to, where I plan to be in the next couple of months. But bro, this is the happiest I've ever been because it's something that I'm pursuing. It's like I'm passionate about and I have a clear vision of what I want to do and I'm confident that I can achieve that. So it's like, I already know the money isn't going to solve much because mentally I'm already in a good headspace, So it's kind of eye-opening to see a lot of people, once they reach that point, realize like, all right, the money problems are solved, but I'm still not happy. It's like you see, you hear about it a lot, but like a lot of these people on, like, I know you mentioned you worked at Wall Street, and you get a lot of these people who are making, crazy amounts of money, but it's like they're kind of just like empty inside because there's no clear passion. They're doing it maybe just for the money, or maybe they have something on the side that they're really passionate about, but they're kind of afraid to take that risk. I feel like, I don't know, trading that passion for the money, I think is 100% worth it. And if you follow the passion, the money will come. Don't follow the money when the passion isn't there. You got to start with good intentions and good morals. And if you're passionate about something, the money will follow. Like, for example, the Instagram, when I was, posting when I was like 16, 17 years old, it's like I was getting 11, 12 likes. And this was for a couple of years. And then I stuck with it. I kept posting. And then little by little, you're seeing kind of like, different maybe companies come in, you're seeing your audience grow. And then to get to where I'm at now, it's like, obviously I want to grow bigger, but it's lovely to see that doing something that I actually love and actually enjoy start to pay off. And I know the money's going to come eventually, but it's not really a worry because I've stayed on the path so long and I've seen good things come to me. So as long as I stay on that path, I know I'm going to be good, Yeah,
it's genuinely the best feeling, and only a few select amount of people will be able to relate to it. One, content creators, and two, the people that were with you since day one.
Yeah.
But once you see the numbers coming in, whether it's monetarily or views, feels good because the work you put into it, like you said earlier. Because I still remember, I only started my podcast a little over a year ago now.
Yeah.
But I spent months on end where I was only getting 100, 200 views on my shorts. Yeah. Maybe 20 views on my full format episodes, So I don't take any view for granted. Like, if you look and scroll back on my Instagram, when I got 100 followers, I posted a picture of me in here smiling really hard.
Hell yeah, dude.
With like it was like a Wilt Chamberlain
The 100 point.
Yeah, 100 point. I got a piece of paper and put the 100.
That's
and
fire.
then the next slide is 100 people in a room. Like you're not happy about this amount of people following you, you know? So I try to always like look back on that and be grateful for where I am now, because sometimes I post something and I'm like, that's not that many views, but the old me could have never imagined it. Me a year ago, the fact that 10 people are following me and enjoying my content is amazing to me.
And all you're doing is being yourself,
which is a blessing. I don't have to be an exaggerated version. I don't feel like one thing about the live streamers that is really big now, they have segments, you know, and they do a lot of planning, and it's meticulous. And that's what I think a lot of people don't realize. They think they just hop on a camera and live their life. Like
everything's
they have to plan so much to be entertaining the entire time. And some people, like I Show Speed, maybe like a Kai Cenat, they just naturally have that energy. But for me, it would be so draining. Even when I sit here for 3 hours, like I'm drained just as a human being. I can't
just existing.
Yeah, we spoke about it earlier. I'm antisocial. In a normal setting, I am mute, I am quiet, I don't like to speak much. But this was part of getting myself out of that comfort zone, which is amazing, because if I'm able to grow in this space and hopefully be where I want to be, it's like I truly know, I truly know anybody could do it.
Yeah.
Because once again, I'm the quietest person you'll ever meet in real life.
Yeah.
So for me to come on here and speak with somebody for an hour and a half, 2 hours, it wasn't fathomable. I couldn't fathom it.
Of course. And I could attest to that, because when I would come here at, 9, 10 years old, I would only speak to Helen.
Yeah.
Like you guys wouldn't, you and Herbert, like you guys wouldn't talk much, and you guys kind of like kept to yourselves. And whether that be just because like the age you were at, or, where you were at in life, like I could just tell like you were more of a quiet person, so seeing you kind of step out your comfort zone to do this, it's like, that just goes to show you, bro. Like it's, if you think you can do it, that should be just enough for you to try. Yeah. And look where it's gotten you, stepping out the comfort zone. In such a
short time. That's what I think people don't understand. Like they see a year and they're like, oh my gosh. But it's real in the grand scheme of things in your whole life. A year is going to fly by like this. Yeah. So I just say put the work in daily, and those small daily wins will add up, and you'll look back in a year and you'll be stunned.
Absolutely.
Because I genuinely, I tell my friends this. I'm like, I worked hard at this. Don't get me wrong. This was like one of my hobbies I picked up, and I'm passionate about it. But I know I didn't give it 150%. You know, and this next year, that's what I'm building on. Like people have New Year's resolutions. I don't really believe in that. I just think if you want to change today, don't wait for tomorrow. This past year, I look at it as me setting a foundation for the rest of my life. I just wanted to prove myself I could actually stick with it. And then this next year is really where I go all out on it, because I already proved for the previous year I could do it, and I proved to myself, because that's one of the biggest things. You need to believe in it before anybody else.
Bro, that's so important, dude, because if you're not true to what you're making, you're not going to achieve what you want. Like if you don't believe what you're truly doing, maybe you can get away with it for a year or two, but you're really not going to build that foundation, and it's going to start to show in the later years. Like with this fitness thing, I'm so passionate about it. I'm so confident that it's going to work. It's almost like a no-brainer. So when you start to see these certain accolades, it's almost like it's expected, because you've put the work in, and it's something you're so passionate about, So I think that's super important, not waiting for other people to kind of, jump in the race with you, but run the race by yourself, and other people will start to run it with you in a sense, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's been one of the biggest change I made in this previous year, because it was something we spoke about off camera, but I was always waiting for my friends to come join in on the project with me. When I first started it, I wanted it to be a team effort. And then we spoke about it. I'm so happy I did it by myself.
It's because it's scary to do it by yourself. Yeah. You want to have almost like a crutch or someone you can rely on if something goes wrong, because it's going to be easier to take on a challenge head on when it's, a group of people. Because when it's by yourself, everything is your fault in a sense. So if you have a good week, if you have a bad week, that's all on you. With the group, it's kind of like, all right, you could kind of disperse the struggles a little bit. But when it's by yourself, it's like, all right, this is all on me. This is all my fault. If I have a bad week, it solely comes down to me. With work, when I was working as a handyman and as a plumber, it's like, you could have a bad week, but I'm still going to get that income every week, But it's like, if you have a bad week with posting content, or you're not on your DMs, if you're not getting back to clients, it's like, that's on you, And I feel like that was a big change too, because like, you realize how much responsibility it takes to really have something by yourself, created by you, And a lot of people don't realize that, but it is a lot, and it's always taking up space in my mind subconsciously. But it's like, it is solely a result of how much work you put in. But I think that's one of the lovely things about it. It's like, you get to where you are because of the work you put in. And if you don't put in the work, you see results like that. If you go a couple weeks without recording a podcast and you see your engagement drop, that's all on you. It's not because your guests didn't want to come in. Like, maybe you should have, reached out to other people. Or if I'm seeing my engagement drop, I'm not posting enough. I'm only posting one reel a day, and I'm not getting back to my DMs. And that's because of me. And that's only because of me. No one else is going to take the fault for that. And I think that's like one of the beauties of kind of, taking that risk and starting something on your own. It's like going through these lessons and struggles and realizing like no one is really going to help you. Like, you have a good support system, but they're not going to do the work for you. We were talking about this before, like with certain clients, you could only give them so much. If they don't want to see the results, that's on them. I could make you a structured meal plan with a structured training program and tell you how many steps to do in your hydration and make sure you're getting your sleep, your supplements. But if you're not doing it, I can't jump in your body and do the work for you. And sometimes with people, like, you just got to realize like they either want it or they don't. And it's kind of like when you put yourself in that position, like, all right, how bad do you want it? And that was like the first couple of weeks when I left my job, I was like, holy shit, this is the real deal. Like, no one's coming to help me. No one's coming to save me, but it kind of lights a fire under you a little bit. It's like, all right, we got to get things moving. And I think that's like the fear kind of pushes you, because you don't want to look back and be like, oh, I could have put in more effort, put in more work. You want to be able to look back and be like, all right, I gave it my all. And now I'm seeing the fruits of my labor because I put in so much work, and I think that's super important.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more, because I had the realization that I can't wait on somebody else to come pursue and live out my dream. If I wanted to be that pillar that everybody looks at to, oh, I can be somebody, I can do this. I just had to step up and be the leader for myself, because once I started on my journey, and once I found a little bit of success, because I'm still at the beginning of it, I saw it started to motivate all my friends. It started to motivate the people around me, because they knew the real me. They knew the quiet guy who didn't like to speak, and they saw the transformation where he stepped out of his comfort zone. He's doing something that I've always wanted to do, and it's inspired them to start on their own journeys, and then hopefully down the line we could all come together. But if we don't, it's perfectly fine with me. I just want to be able to motivate my friends to do that, because I don't know about you, but I feel like every guy friend group has this, where there was a point in their life where they're like, dude, we could do this. If they're watching their side men, like, dude, we could totally blow up on YouTube. Like, if we just had a camera here recording everything we do, that could be us. I feel like we all.
If you haven't had that conversation with your boys, then I don't think you guys are really boys, man.
No,
it's still on my YouTube, and I kept it on there on purpose. But I have a couple videos where me and my boys would go to the soccer field. We'd watch a sidemen video, and then we tried to edit it exactly like the sidemen. Because it's like, yo, if they're doing this, why can't we? And it's like, you almost need to have that mindset, like, keep that mindset with you as you go into these different ventures. If he did it, why can't I? And I feel like that's so important, because that's so funny. It's like when I started Morning Crew, my boy Josue, it's like, the way it started, we'd go into the gym early morning, and there'd be the same amount of people there every time. So we'd pull up, it's like, yo, it's the Morning Crew. And we just kept saying it. Yeah. So, and then when we were like, bro, there's a bunch of other people coming out with, different clothing and different branding and having different pages, it's like, bro, we have all we need right here. We have the community. It's just, why not start it? It's like, sometimes I think it's good to have a plan, but it's also good to just take that jump and kind of learn along the way. Yeah. Because it's like, the longer you think about it, it's almost like you take a selfie, and then you want to post it, and then you look at it more and more, you're like, I kind of look cooked here. Like, I don't like this angle. Like, the more you look at it, the more you're going to judge it, the more you're going to think about it, then you're just going to end up not posting it. It's kind of just, you got to take that picture and post it, and then kind of see what happens from there. So it's like, you got to use that impulse reaction that you're feeling and just go with it. Because usually your gut feeling is right, because that's all this was for me. I was working out in the morning, and then, I went to school for plumbing, and then I got these jobs, and always in my gut, I was like, this is good, but I know I could be, doing something more. And there's something deep down that, I want to put my passion towards, if I've been working out almost close to 10 years, it's like, obviously this is something I'm passionate about. It's been the one thing that I've been consistent with throughout my life. So it's like, why not try to utilize that and the things that I've learned along the way? Why not try to, show that to other people? Because there's so many other people in my position who want to take that leap, who want to learn certain things. And it's like, all they need is that person that they can relate to.
Yeah.
And then, you've changed someone's life, It's like, even if you're not directly talking to them, even just posting, like I'll have people come up to me and tell me it's that I'm almost like an inspiration for them, which is crazy to think about because I'm just doing what I like, and it's like, I know you think about this, it's like, yeah, it's work, but it's also something you're passionate about. So when you're passionate about work, it's not really work, like obviously you have to put the time in, but you look forward to doing it. And I think that definitely changes your outlook on, where time can be spent, because I look forward to making these videos and I look forward to posting and reaching out to different people and hopefully changing people's perspective on nutrition and fitness. So if I'm able to do that, dude, it's like, I enjoy doing it. There's no time wasted.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the best feeling on earth. The fact that I've been able to change one person's life, whether it was me or whether it was a guest I had on, it all stemmed from me putting myself out there and starting this podcast. Without that, they would have never been able to hear the guest's story and been motivated. They would have never been able to hear my story and been motivated. And I probably got, me personally, 10 DMs of 10 people's lives I've helped, but I've got
crazy
probably over 150 comments on videos that it's helped somebody. My guests have reached out to me like, hey, somebody in Texas saw a video, it motivated them, dude. It was a dope podcast. Like, keep going. Like, just to hear that from people, it's amazing, honestly. And all I ever needed, honestly, was one.
Yeah.
But I was that first one for myself. You know, I was able to take that leap, believe in myself, even when times were hard, even when I wasn't believing in myself. I said, you know what? I know 5, 10, 15 years down the line, I'll regret it if I don't at least try and give it my all.
Exactly, bro.
I told myself, I'm going to give myself 10 years.
Yeah.
If 10 years, nothing happens, then I could quit, I
mean, look how far you've gotten in a year, dude.
Exactly.
This is only a year. So it's like, it's just going to keep growing. And just imagine how good it feels when one person comes up to you and gives you a compliment. It's like, oh, you got, nice lift or like nice hair, any type of compliment, how good that makes you feel. Then you get these people reaching out to you saying that you've been a change in their life. Like, it's insane. It's crazy to think about, it's almost like surreal, because that's always been the goal. So to actually see that work out and come to fruition, it's like, it's beautiful. And I think it's one of the big benefits of, being able, at least in my space for like the fitness space, being able to change these people's perspective on nutrition and training, and then seeing how that kind of delves into other aspects of their life. Because I feel like nutrition and training are just more than, going to the gym and eating well. It like, you better your body, you better your mind, you meet certain people going into the gym, you get accustomed to a routine. And I feel like that routine could be used in so many more ways than just going to the gym and getting your meals in, or just eating healthy, being a better father figure for your sons, or being a better husband for your wife. And it could be applied to so many different places. And hearing people kind of use that, it's like, all right, I saw a certain PR in the gym and I started eating better, but now I feel more confident when I walk into a room, or now my relationship is better with my significant other because I feel better about myself. It's like, when you feel good about yourself, you're just going to light other people up, and people are going to see that. People are going to see the confidence that you're radiating when you feel good about yourself, And I feel like for a lot of people, maybe getting into the gym is that first step, and then you could just apply that into different spaces throughout life. So it's like, that's one of my favorite changes that I like to see as a coach. Like, not just losing weight and eating better, but your relationships and your friendships start to flourish because you took these steps. Because most people aren't even willing to take the step. Most people aren't even willing to reach out. So just the fact you're able to reach out and take that step, you already put yourself in a certain bracket of people who weren't willing to take that risk and be vulnerable, which is, I think people should give themselves a lot more praise for doing that. Because it's a big step, dude, It's like, a lot of people are a lot more self-conscious about themselves than you think, So taking that step and building that confidence and applying that to maybe their job or somewhere else, it's like, you can really change your life,
Yeah, it's very basic, but health is wealth at the end of the day. Like, people are gonna think it's corny, but it's so true.
It
I
is
mean,
true. It is
when you're
true.
taking care of your body,
Mm-hmm.
it follows right alongside of your mental. You know what I mean? When you're getting exercise in and you're releasing all these hormones, all this pent up, let's say you have rage, like,
Yeah.
it just helps you be a healthier person in the end result kind of thing. So I can't emphasize enough how much, like, first, the gym has saved my life in so many different ways, you know? So it's like, I always tell people, man, make sure you're going to the gym. Even for myself, I need to hop on my butt sometimes and be like, make sure I'm going. Even if I got injuries, like my shoulder hurts, my knee hurts, let me go for a walk. Let me just, because you know more than anyone else, when you're a creator and you're doing it all on your own, sometimes you're kind of just stuck in the house by yourself within your own thoughts. Like, sometimes you just need to go outside and see other people and maybe talk to the front desk person and, like, have little conversations to not drive yourself insane. I don't think people understand how important that is.
Yeah, that's why I love, like, what I brought up before of going to these little SBD dates, for lack of a better term, with my boys. Because, like, having that conversation, at least going outside and getting a different change of scenery. Because, dude, I'll be in my room for, like, hours on end.
Yeah.
And I look at the time, I'm just like, holy crap. Like, I feel like garbage. Like, I just did all my work, but I got to get some sunlight. Like, I'm a vampire. I got to go out. I got to talk to people. And I feel like, at least for me, it's like, I kind of have that urge to go out and maybe socialize a little bit. So I feel like definitely, like, change of scenery is big, but like having those conversations, or maybe talking to someone at the front desk, or having that conversation you didn't want to have with someone before. It's like, I feel like that definitely changes once you kind of get into a nice routine and kind of build that confidence a little bit.
Yeah, I think, because me, I drive myself insane. Like, I can't drive the same way to the gym every day. When I had a job, I can't take the same route. Like, I need my mind to see different things at all times. And that's why I think this next year, I'm going to start traveling more, because first of all, traveling is amazing. When you're able to experience different cultures, whether it's like different nation entirely or traveling within the United States, I feel like New Jersey, my country. I'll reiterate that again. New Jersey, I love you, but, like, New Jersey compared to Nashville is different. Compared to Texas is different. You just get to see a different side of the world and a different side of the country. So I really just want to travel more to make sure I'm keeping an open mind, staying refreshed. And, like, as nice as a routine is, and it's amazing, I also kind of want to break my routine sometimes and make sure I'm just, like, living life and don't get too crazy over my work. Like we said earlier, at the end of the day, we're just human beings. We're not robots to be made to be working 24/7, you know?
Yeah, dude. And that's how it was. Like, when I was a handyman, I'd wake up 5:30 in the morning. I'd hop on the 5:45 bus because the bus stop was right near my house. I'd sleep on the bus because I was up all night trying to build the systems for my coaching. Sleep on the bus. I'd get to the gym. I'd work out. I'd film the content at the gym. And then I'd work this 9 to 5. Usually it was like 9 to 7. 9 to 5 is a stretch. You know, I was there for a good amount of time. And then I'd go home. I'd sleep on the bus on the way back. And it was that same routine over and over. And you see that look when you get into Port Authority. Everyone's kind of head down, hunched over. Like, it's just sad, man. It's the rat race, you know, for lack of a better term. But you really see it when you're in it, because you hear about it a lot. Yeah. But, dude, I was doing that for a year, and I was like, dude, how do people do this for more than a couple months, bro? Yeah. It's crazy. Like, I don't care what, like, obviously, you know, I'd be a little bit more motivated if, you know, I was getting, you know, $1 million, you know, if I was working for this job, but still, it'd get to me eventually. You know, the money could only solve so many problems, but, like, being in that mundane routine, and I know I talked about loving a routine, and it's something I'm trying to get better at, is kind of loving the ebb and flow of a routine, kind of getting out my routine and being comfortable with that, because there is comfort in routine. You know, you hear a lot about people going to jail, and they were in jail or prison for 10 to 15 years, and they get accustomed to that same routine. So once they get out, they can't live life without a routine. They get up at a certain time and they cook a certain way, and they get out at certain times. It's like a lot of people really would just rather be, I guess, somewhat comfortable and have that routine instead of kind of break away from the herd and kind of do something that's a little bit uncomfortable, you know? So, dude, those bus rides were eye-opening, dude, because I would just be on that bus next to, like, those buses were packed, and I'd be in this bus, and I'd just be like, yo, what am I doing, man? Like, what is this? You know? And I feel like those bus rides were definitely a good thing to go through, because I don't think if I saw that side of life, that mundane reality and that routine, and I'm not saying that would have been my life for the next 5 years, but as far as the path that I was going down, it's like if I wanted to grow in that field, I was gonna have to have that outlook on life for a little bit, and I feel like that kills your charisma, bro.
Yeah.
It's rough. It's rough.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I went through a similar process because everybody, at least if you're in any type of finance, career path, accounting, they always talk about the Big Apple, you know what I mean? The city's the place you want to be, but since we live in New Jersey, I remember what it's like taking that bus support authority. I remember waking up at 5:30 to be in the office by 8, you know, it's just, it's crazy. And then first half of the year, you're just getting training. So I'd be out the office at 5, but with traffic, with everything, I wouldn't get home till 7, 8 o'clock and then have to hit the gym. So having that same routine of work out, eat, go to bed, wake up the next day and do it. Like I felt as if I was living for the weekend. Yeah. And that's what I never wanted to do in my life. And then I started to see, okay, now I understand why all these people are going out every weekend and drinking and doing all this BS.
Bro, it's a perfect equation. Yeah. You know, it's like, it's at least for like the person who's used to that routine, it makes sense why they want to get blackout drunk every Friday night. You know, it's like finals week every week, you know, It's like, all right, now we can go out to the bars. And it's like, at least for me, that's not a way I want to live. And obviously, if you're working, this isn't like, you know, giving disrespecting the 9 to 5, because
not at all.
It's, you know, I respect it. And there's so many people who do it. And I feel like it's kind of a lot of people now, especially with social media and content, it's like, oh, I don't want to work the 9 to 5 or it's evil. It's like, there's beauty in working the 9 to 5. Like if you enjoy it, you could grow and you could really see like different levels as far as putting that time in. But I'm just saying, like, it's not for me and it's not for you. So it's like, if you feel like you're kind of struggling in that sense, it's like, all right, it makes sense why you're feeling that way. But there's some people who love the 9 to 5, you know, who really like that routine and they've been able to build a beautiful life from that. But at least for me, the way that it was affecting me, I didn't like, as far as mentally, I was just not as, I wouldn't say confident is the word, but I kind of lost that spark in a sense. Yeah. Like I was just kind of, you know, tired all the time and I didn't really have any motivation to do much because it's like I already put in all this energy into work. So it's like having this business on the side, it's like, oh, I'm too tired to do that. You know, and that's like, you're kind of, you know, watching time go by because those days go by so quick, man. You know, time flies when you're kind of in that bubble and that mundane routine. Like, I can't believe I was at that building for a year. You know, it feels like a couple months, but, you know, I look back and it was like almost a year to date. So time really does fly. And I realized, like, this is how people kind of get stuck in it. They just keep doing it and then they just get comfortable in it. And then 10 years go by, you know, and it's because this is how people live like back then. It's just, you know, go to work, go home, get some meatloaf, get greeted with a nice little martini at the door. And it's like, that was everything, you know? So it's like, it's interesting to see, but that's basically to say, like, that's not knocking, you know, the normal 9 to 5. Like, no, if it's for you and certain people, like I've met, like, you know, Zan Carver? Yeah. Dude, he's like a perfect example of someone who flourishes in that because he's able to balance all of these things. He's able to have that routine, but also have, you know, I think it's Savages and Suits, his own business where it's like he could be in that routine, but he could also kind of separate that from his own business. But I know for me personally, it was just so much on the mental where I didn't have the mental capacity to put that same energy that I was putting into the 9 to 5 as I can with the work. But it's doable. It's definitely doable, you know, and I'm not knocking it. But I'm saying the path that I was going down, I didn't really see a bright future and I wasn't really, you know, giving everything into, you know, eventually what I wanted to be, you know, my company and my business. And that was eating away at me. Like every day I was at work, I'm like, oh, all this time could be put into morning crew and this and that. So I couldn't keep living like that, dude. Yeah, I couldn't relate to you more, man. It's given me PTSD of those days, and I completely respect the people who work a 9 to 5 because, one, it's not easy, and two, like, being secure and having that paycheck come in every day is a blessing, and it is a great thing because I promise you, if I wanted to get a job right now, I haven't worked for over a year and a half. I wouldn't be able to, you know what I mean? I'm not in that position to. So like having a job is a blessing. Getting that check, having that security, it's all a blessing. So I don't want to seem like I take it for granted, but absolutely. I had an opportunity to build something on my own and be blessed enough to do it because how many people in their 20s could just pick up and say, oh, I want to do this on the side and not work, you know what I mean? Not everybody has that opportunity. So
I never want to make it seem like I'm downplaying the 9 to 5, because like you said, a lot of people on social media sit here and do that and be like, if you're not an entrepreneur, but it's like, bro, as long as you're happy in life, that's all that matters.
Yeah, you don't have to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to, go after the guy who's, working on his own brand or something like you don't have to dwell from, what you're, I guess, not comfortable with, but like a good routine has its benefits, so you don't have to see that and be like, oh, I got to change my life, ASAP. Like everyone's different. Everyone operates in a different way. So if you operate better and your way of life is better through that routine and working that 9 to 5, bro, go after it, Like, don't, just because you see, a lot of people kind of shifting their mindset to a whole nother, way of living or a certain job or maybe not getting that stable income or check week or bi-weekly. It's like, you don't have to follow that group of people, Yeah. It's just kind of food for thought in a sense. And I realized like what I wanted to do was more fitting for that group of people. So I took that risk, But it's like, dude, if you're more comfortable doing that and you could see yourself growing in that field, stay in that field,
Yeah. 100%, man. Like I said, as long as you're happy at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Don't live your life for somebody else. Don't do things for other people, because those other people genuinely don't care.
They don't.
Even if you think they do, they don't care. And even if they do care, they're only going to care for the next 15 seconds because they're on to the next thing. Like, so just make sure you're really reflecting on your life and seeing what truly makes you happy, you know what I mean? And going after that, whether it's your career path, whether it's becoming an entrepreneur, whether it's not having a career or becoming an entrepreneur, you know what I mean?
Like, I know a big stressor for me was like, as far as, taking the normal route from middle school, high school, college, getting my degree, and then going into a job was like a big pressure from my parents. And I know a lot of people can relate, like having an immigrant mom where she got as far as she did, a big reason was because of her education.
Yeah.
She got her bachelor's and master's, and she's been in her practicing field for 25 years.
Yeah.
Like I would never be able to do that because it's just so crazy seeing all the work she's put in and being a single mom for, a good amount of time and, supporting 2 kids, me and my sister. It's like, I had the best childhood and seeing my mom put in that work, I'd come home late from whatever I was doing with my boys and she'd be up on the computer working towards her degree. It's like, that's so motivating to see. And then it's just crazy what she's been able to provide just from that. So there's no shame in, working towards that. Like, I praise you, because I know I would never be able to do that. But having that pressure, from your parents, it's like, obviously they got to where they are because of the route they took. So because they love you, they want you to be comfortable and maybe take that route that they're most familiar with. But times are changing. So it's not always that same route that they're used to, to get to where you want. And it's very hard because I know a lot of people are in that position of, oh, I'm only in college because of my parents, or I'm only taking this degree because of my parents. It's like, at the end of the day, man, it's your life, and I feel like a big regret of mine would have been to kind of follow that path that they wanted me to go down. It's not because they love you. They want to see the best for you, and that's the only reason why they're recommending this path, because it's what they know, But sometimes you got to realize, like, this is your life, this is your future. And, the decisions you make are going to affect your life 5-10 years down the road. So if you don't see yourself in that field, it's very important that you make some type of action or decision. And it's usually the harder one. It's going to be that hard decision, that big risk, and having to sit your parents down and tell them you dropped out of college after 2 semesters, it's like, it's not an easy conversation to have. And some people kind of just go with that and they take it on the chin. But it's like, I think that's a big part of adulthood, where it's like, getting out of high school, you're kind of, still figuring yourself out, and maybe you're in college and you're, studying for a degree you're not really passionate about. It's like, if you do find that passion and you really do think, you could take that risk, it's like, obviously plan somewhat accordingly, but at the end of the day, realize like these next steps are really going to shape the next, 10-15 years of your future. And I was sitting down and looking at that. I was like, do I want to finish this and kind of go into a field I'm not really passionate about? Or do I kind of want to, take that risk, have this hard conversation with my parents, how I'm dropping out? And, I had that conversation and, I got to where I'm at now, and it's because of those decisions and those gut feelings that I felt in the beginning that I was, not afraid to come to terms with. But it's easier said than done, bro. Especially having a Dominican mom, bro. Yeah. Sitting her down and I know you can relate, but sitting her down and telling her like, yeah, I'm leaving my stable job to pursue content, for lack of a better term. Like, they're only on Facebook. They don't even know what content is, really. Yeah. They don't know like the scalability that's available. Like, bro, this could make so much money.
Yeah.
And it's a hard message to get through to your parents, where it's like, listen, my work isn't going to look like, you know, what you think work is. You know, I'm sure when she walks in my room and she sees me on my computer, she's like, yo, is he game? Like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
You know, but it's really being put towards something that's going to flourish. And it's a hard conversation to have, but I truly think, like, because I know I'm confident in, you know, what I want to build and what the turnout's going to be. So I didn't have too much of a problem having that conversation, regardless of what her answer was going to be.
Yeah.
You know, even though she didn't talk to me for 3 days, it's like, I'm still going to pursue that, you know, but it definitely is a hard conversation, and it's easier said than done, for sure. Cause I know even people I talk to, they're in that same position, you know, feeling that stress from, you know, whether it be significant other or parents or maybe grandparents, uncles, aunts, or whoever, you know, you got to realize it's your life, and you only have, you know, one shot at it, you know, and you don't want to look down when you're 40 years old with, you know, that regret, that pit in your stomach, you know, and that was like, for me, that's the biggest motivator. You know, I do not want to look back and be like, I could have done this, I could have done that. Like, that to me, that's the scariest for me. You know, having that fear of looking back and living with that regret of not taking that risk. It's like, bro, time is finite, you know, like the only thing in life that's guaranteed is death, you know, so nothing is guaranteed.
Yeah.
And if you just look at how, like, your life in the last year, how much it's changed, my life in the last 6 months with this, how much it's changed, it's like, it's possible, you know, but it's the harder decisions you're going to have to make that are going to get you where you want, you know?
Yeah. I want to cut it there because I think that's like a perfect ending piece.
Yeah.
That was beautiful, brother. I just wanted to thank you for your time. I mean, it could have been more of a
Thank
blessing.
You for having me, bro.
Yeah,
this was great.
Of course, brother. For this to be your first podcast, I mean, brother, it's an absolute pleasure.
I appreciate that, bro. This was beautiful, bro. I like this.
Yeah,
this is
I'm
nice.
happy you enjoyed it, bro. You know, you're welcome back. Part 2 is going to be even crazier. I love this one,
Absolutely,
man.
Bro.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.